Good evening, everybody. It's Nikki Jordan of Got Space, and this is day 8, the beginning of the second week of a program I put myself on about demanding more of myself. And this was born out of an evening of misery. It wasn't exactly misery, but it was the birthday of my sister-in-law, and my daughter just was being really grumpy and really difficult to be around. And I thought, okay, this is teenagers, but it was kind of, you know how they can be a little bit mean. So I had seen a rock earlier that day, and I have posted this on my feed. And you know how people are painting rocks and putting them places? I I saw this rock that I took a photograph of that says "You rock." And while I was at that dinner, I decided to make this my screensaver because whatever was going on didn't feel like I rocked at all. And it was very kind of mean, kid mean. But I just thought, you know, I don't want to endure this every day. I don't want to feel like this. I want to feel like you rock. So I put the photo as my screensaver. So every time I pick up my phone, I see that. And that night I started this program demanding more of myself, in life, and just the way I behave, what I'm thinking about, where I put my energy, everything. And I thought it was going to start out with me cleaning up. And it definitely did not start up with me doing all the things I avoided during COVID. It started out with me really being aware of things that were grabbing my attention that I no longer really cared about, and really being willing to go with change. And in the last 3 days, I started saying, well, if change, you know, you can be guaranteed that change happens. You can be guaranteed that you're going to die. And that's about the only thing besides being born that you can be guaranteed. The only relationship you can never leave is the one with yourself. So I decided, what if I looked at change as a friend? You know, because I was getting really bored here. I was getting so bored in COVID. Some nights I was like, I don't know if I find anything I want to do. I don't feel like reading. I don't feel like listening to anything. And I'm so used to just being in energy because I'm an energy healer, but I just wasn't even wanting that. So I said, what can I do? And I said, then it occurred to me, what if change were my friend? What if every moment that I observed what I was doing, I was sort of stepping outside and looking and saying, is this something I want to keep, or a way I want to keep being, or what I want to change? And so as soon as I just made that true, that change was nothing to be feared, which it wasn't anyway, but it was actual declaration that change is my friend, all kinds of things started happening. And a while ago, at the beginning of this year, I had decided that I wanted to start sailing again, but I had gotten weak, and I know when strong winds how much force you need to pull the jib in or whatever it is. You need a lot of strength, and I had been losing strength. And so I said, I'm going to go to the gym to get the strength I need for my body in general, but with the eye in mind that I want to go sailing. And so I joined the gym until it closed down in middle March and has never opened up again. And I kind of let things fizzle. But in March, a friend of mine didn't move, just comes here periodically from Colorado because of his work with PG&E, which is our electric utility. He has a contract with them. And he bought a boat. We didn't even know this. He bought a boat. We didn't even know he was here. He bought a boat and he wanted a crew. And so I've been able to come and sit on the boat, go sailing on the boat, watch the jib rip apart, you know, all kinds of things on an old boat that you just bought for practically not a lot of money start to happen. But I was involved in something and in creating something. And so once he started inviting us sailing, I started realizing this is an opportunity for me to use this event to change my life. And this week, we had more of this in our life. And the more I came up with the idea that I want to engage more in this activity, everything around me started changing. And even my relationship with a curmudgeon-y, teenager, or if that's even the right word, started to change. It's like, well, If that's what you want in life, fine, you can have that. Or, you can come sailing. And when you don't like sailing, well, that's what sailing is like. If, no, you're not just in a small boat. If you're in a larger boat, you're going to be out all day. And I'm sorry, it was boring. It's all of these things that you start to realize that were like cobwebs in your life, holding you in place, catching you that's what a cobweb does, is it catches you and it holds you there. I just started to say, if change is my friend, and then the cobwebs would go away. And I wouldn't even say if change is my friend, I just say change is my friend. And this might seem like a roundabout way to talk about that, but the idea that you're willing to have a friend that most people fear, that's not that relevant, that most people fear, but that you might have feared, is really significant, because it takes the boogeyman out from underneath the bed. If you don't know what the boogeyman is, at least in America, children are afraid of the boogeyman. The boogeyman is this hidden monster that lurks in the closet, is under the stairwell, is under the bed. It's the scary thing you can't see that keeps you in fear. So all the boogeymen start to disappear when you realize change is, not only is change a constant in life, but if you allow it to be your friend, then you're not always looking in the rearview mirror. You're not always held back from the things that you used to be doing, that maybe you even didn't want to be on that path forever, but you stayed there. Or maybe you had a behavior pattern you wanted to get rid of, and you're always stuck with it. You're relating it to something in your life, or you're looking backwards at a story. I hate stories. I really don't. When even as an energy healer, when people start to tell me their stories, I'll listen for what is connecting me to what needs to work with them. But the story itself, if they keep repeating it, I'll say, the story isn't that important. Let's change the energy, because the story is a result of the energy. And so by making change my friend, I am able to demand more of myself with ease. Demanding more of myself with ease is really phenomenal, because it means I'm willing to see differently. I'm willing to make something not so vital, valuable, or real. I'm willing not to have a ball and chain that I've put there myself. I'm willing not to adapt my life to something or someone else that I didn't really want to do that. Wow, I get really spacey, and it was really hard for me to start this when a lot of energy comes forward. And as soon as I acknowledged that energy, I got really clear, and it's present with me. And that energy that I'm sensing that's present, that just came, that was making my brain fuzz brain, is because I only got fuzzy and loopy in my head, like some people say people are vortexing or whatever, because I wasn't willing to acknowledge all the entities or all the energy that was coming in while I was talking here to you. And as soon as I acknowledge it, it's there with me to contribute, or just to be with me. So you might, if this resonates with you, because this has been a time recently of boredom for me, and I'm like, wow, I'm never bored, and now I feel bored. So what do I need to change? And that's why I say, when change became my friend, then I was willing to change it. And after 8 days, and it was blazing hot here, it was 100 degrees. Some people say it was 104 degrees Fahrenheit here. We're in an area without air conditioning. And if you don't know what that's like in 104 degrees, that's crazy. But I took my workspace, which has been relegated to nothing all COVID for everyone else. There was someone else living here, and my family stored a lot of stuff here. I made it my own today, and I'm going to show it to you. It may not be that interesting to you, but it's very powerful for me. So I made myself a living room. I made myself a living room here. I used to have my healing table here, and I have an office over there. And then I have a bed. This box was because I had this on here, and I get to look out at the San Francisco Bay, which is completely dark, all day long if it's not hot, right? I did this after making change my friend for long enough that finally I was willing to give something to myself after working on everything and everyone around me. And that was fine doing all of that. In fact, it was necessary for my family. It gave me more, but now it's my time. So anyway, I'm really looking forward. So those of you who don't know, I'm doing this for 10 weeks. This was week 1. So I have 9 more weeks of demanding more of myself. And I wonder what will happen. And I'm hoping this in the next few days, I'm going to put up a private group if people want to join me, where we can all demand more of ourselves and see what happens. Because it's pretty phenomenal when you declare something. When you declare it, you don't even have any idea what direction it's going to go in. I had no idea that I wasn't going to do any of the tasks that I thought I needed to do to change anything for 8 days. In fact, I have a whole stairwell full of that more. But I thought it was going to be something simpler, but what changed was really deep and profound. And I don't know what triggered that, except for that I am bored. And change is exciting. Change is exciting. It's adventurous to me. And it takes me to a new place, maybe places that I've left off of myself or left myself off of. So anyway, I hope that contributed to you. Have a nice night.